Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. In the last 18 months, I've been able to make and invest a little over $500,000 with the goal of finally reaching $1 million in 2025. But if I had to start all over with nothing but $50 in my pocket, I know exactly what I would do right now to reach the exact same point that I currently am at. This isn't theoretical. Over 12 years ago, I started with less than this amount. In that time, I've worked minimum wage jobs, lived paycheck to paycheck, and I tried every business, side hustle, get rich quick scheme that you can possibly think of. I resold shoes, tried my hand at drop shipping, build YouTube channels, building websites, ghostwriting, selling fire sticks, day trading, etc. Like you can name it, I've probably done it. Whether it failed or it succeeded, and trust me, in this process, you fail way more than you succeed. But each time I did it, it taught me something invaluable. And through the years of trial and plenty of error, I eventually developed a step-by-step strategy that I think anyone can take to go from $50 to generating $30,000. And I believe that you could do this within 60 days or less to eventually scaling this and go way beyond that. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. For me personally, anytime I set a goal, I normally have one main goal with a few milestones to hit in between just to help me keep track. The first milestone that you should start with is earning your first $10,000. In order to get your first $10,000, I know this probably seems counterproductive, but you shouldn't start a business. This is the mistake that I made early on because I poured every dollar and all my time into startup after startup that was trendy or popular at the time, but I wasn't actually trying to make a good business. I was just trying to make money. And I know that that seems like the point of a business, but when you're just pouring your time and energy into just random things, it's never going to really produce anything unless you have some intent. And whenever I did this, I usually ended up broke, discouraged when those ventures inevitably failed. Starting a business requires money, time, and experience, and it's three things that you're probably short on if you're just getting started. And instead of taking out business loans, because again, if you have no money, there's no point in you taking out loans, even if you had great credit. It's not gonna help you if you can't pay those loans back if this fails. And like I said in the beginning, you will fail way more than you will succeed. Honestly, I really wish someone had explained this to me sooner. I spent years in this cycle of just repeating this year after year. And now 12 years later, I realized this happened because of my stubbornness and my ego. If you're an entrepreneur, then I'm sure that you'll be able to relate to this. The moment I decided in my mind that I would be an entrepreneur, working a regular 9-to-5 job just felt like it was beneath me. And this happens a lot, whether most people want to admit it, but you want to earn money by doing something glamorous like running a successful business, or you want to leverage things like credit and things like that. But that is the absolute quickest way to fail. You're never going to build wealth with loans, credit, a get rich quick scheme app, or some crazy website. If you have this ego or this mindset, immediately get rid of it. It will not help you in this situation. This will keep you poor for the rest of your life. The fastest way to get from 50 to your first $10,000 is earned income or trading your time for money. That means getting various jobs, side gigs, and this is not glamorous. This isn't what people show you on Instagram Reels or TikToks and things like that. It's not what you think. It is hard work. And despite that, that's the reason why it doesn't get as much attention, because people want things to be simplified and easy. And the fact of the matter is, if everything was that easy, then everyone would just be walking around with $1 million in their bank account. Unfortunately, it's only a few people who figure this out and are willing to put in the effort that it takes to get to that point. So if that is you, then I hope that you understand this. Get a regular job, work a 9-to-5, as well as gig work and side hustles that can help you make additional income, DoorDash, Uber, mobile car detailing, or even digital side hustles like even TikTok shop affiliate sales, things like that. These kinds of unleveraged jobs rely solely on your effort and your time. They aren't really that scalable, but they are dependable ways that you can build your initial $10,000 probably faster than anything else that you can think of. Not to mention, there's no cost or risk. When you trade time for money, everyone knows this. That's why they feel comfortable at their job. If I show up here and do this, I will get this. If I do this, I will get this. You don't have to put up any money. You don't have to take any risk. You just have to show up and do the job. If I were starting over today, this is where I would give all my attention. And trust me, it's infinitely better to build your own startup capital, especially if you don't know what you're going to actually do. And I'll talk about this when it's time to leverage business funding. Look, when I started, I stacked up capital from gig work, service apps. I even made some extra money doing video editing, photography at one point. Look, anything that could get me $1, I did it. I did this to invest into my business and myself, and I suggest that you do the same. There's no shame in working a 9-to-5 job. The real key is combining your 9-to-5 income with your side hustle or your gig work, so that way you can have some additional funds. I also mentioned this in my passive income video. Work your job to start something on the side, because when you start that side hustle, you will develop skills that you can use later on to actually create a profitable, scalable business. And we're gonna talk about this soon, but pretty much all your free time outside of your 9-to-5 job should go into acquiring new skills based off of the gig work and other things that you're doing, because experience and skills will unlock your true potential, and that's going to allow you to build wealth. That's the part most people overlook or try to skip with get rich ideas. And I wish I knew how valuable skills were 12 years ago. It would have saved me so much time and heartache. I'm not here to lecture you guys, but honestly, there's no way to have this conversation about making money and creating wealth without addressing your habits and your mindset. So recently on my Instagram, I posted this picture that you see here. You don't look like your goals, you look like your habits. Effort doesn't lie. The only example I could think of that is when you see someone who goes to the gym and they train, you know what's required of you to look like that, right? You have to eat a certain way. You have to exercise a certain way, and it shows. And someone can tell you that they're working out, but you can actually look at them and tell if they're working out. So that's kind of how this is going to be. There's no way to cheat the work. You have to do it, and you do not look like your goals. You look like your habits. Not only do people hold themselves back because of ego and pride, but your spending and your lifestyle habits keep you in the same cycle that you need to break. If you're wasting money on substances like alcohol, smoking, binge watching, TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube for the sake of entertainment or distraction, or you're spending lots of money eating fast food, it's time for a change, because these habits will take away a lot of your money. They will kill your motivation, and they will kill your focus. I can give so many personal examples of the moment where I focused and stopped giving the wrong time and attention to certain people, to certain environments. All of a sudden, I became so much more successful. I can promise you guys, my day starts at 5 a.m. I don't stop working until around 8 p.m. every single day. Well, not every day. I will say 6 days a week. I take at least one day off because you just need to rest. You have to have a rest day. But I'm telling you that that type of focus and that type of mindset will keep you not only out of trouble, but it's going to keep you successful. I promise. If you sit around all day and do nothing but learn, I promise there's no way that you're not going to be successful. It's inevitable. Now, if you can push past these things and do the work every single day, I promise, I can't stress this enough, that first 10,000 will not only come quickly, that next 30,000 will come even faster. That 100,000 will be just around the corner, and then sky is the limit beyond that point. All right, so this is going to be one of the big things that we're going to discuss today, and this is getting from that $10,000 to that $30,000 mark. This is the way that I would suggest you get from 10,000 to 30,000, and that's mastering a skill that pays you a lot of money. I believe that there are 3 standout skills that everyone should consider. And once I explain these 3 skills, you'll understand why simply getting business funding is not going to cut it. It just won't. The first one is AI implementation, specifically AI inputs. Artificial intelligence is reshaping every industry. Businesses want to integrate AI, but they don't know how. And that's where you're going to come in. I'm telling you right now, I use AI to run every business I operate on a daily basis. And if you are ignoring AI or you're not using it in your workflow, you're deliberately being ignorant at this point, because there's no way for you to actually ignore this thing. It's just bigger than everything that's going on at this time. Everything and everyone in the next 10 or 15 years will be replaced by AI, but at this time, AI cannot be properly utilized without human input. A lot of those jobs, entry-level positions, things like that, it's not gonna cut it in the next 10 or 15 years. They will be replaced. And at that point, having skills won't become something that can make you a lot of money. It'll just become the bare minimum to do anything. Okay, so at this time, take advantage of the fact that having skills is really, really important right now. It's very valuable, but it won't be in the future. Companies are currently trying to figure out how to use this in their own workflow, but they don't know how to do it. So now they're paying thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars for people that can help implement AI. I see this all the time. In fact, I know someone who's personally making well over 6 figures a month, not per year, per month, selling AI services to companies. If you can reach out to companies or even local businesses and show them that you can save them time and money by implementing AI tools, they will pay you. Think of it like AI is the equivalent to the internet in the 90s. It's still early right now. So if you begin mastering this thing, and I'm not saying go out and learning how to code or anything like that. I'm simply talking about learning how to create good AI prompts, learning how to implement this stuff, especially in specific industries. You can literally set your own price because you'll be immensely valuable to them. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, well, how do I learn how to do these AI inputs? Well, 2 ways. Number one, after you watch this video, go back to YouTube and start learning. Everything that I've ever learned, I've learned on YouTube, or at least YouTube was the thing that sparked the idea that got me to learn from other various ways, but YouTube was like the main way. Number 2, actually use the tools. I got really good at ChatGPT in the last 8 months just because I use it every single day. That's really it. Start with YouTube tutorials and then get in there and start learning. Get your hands dirty. You have to spend your time learning skills. I kid you not. These tools will run the world in the next few years. And if you know how to control them, you will have well over, you're going to have more than millions of dollars. You'll have way more than that. The number 2 most important skill is content creation, especially viral content creation. In today's economy, attention is currency. In fact, it's the most valuable form of currency that we have. And I'll give you an example. I had a $1 billion company just last week, $1 billion company approach me and ask me to make a piece of content for them because they can't figure out how to get attention. Here's another example. Go to Walmart's YouTube, go to Target's YouTube channel, go to like some of these big brand channels, right? They're not getting more views than I'm getting on my channel. They're barely cracking like a couple thousand views. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that big name brands can't really seem to get more attention with all the resources that they have at their disposal? And that's why you guys can't just throw money at everything. You guys need to actually understand how things work. It's not about throwing money at every single problem. Money cannot solve everything. In fact, content creation is still something that AI is struggling to replace. And you might find a couple of viral AI videos and things like that, or people doing faceless channels, but they're still years from perfecting this. One day they'll crack the code, but for now, it's still very human handled. I've learned how to bridge the gap between AI, content creation, and while I'm making videos for you guys, I'm getting most of the money from companies. Again, go back to my passive income video. A lot of the money that I'm getting is actually coming from companies. I'm not doing what other people are doing where they're trying to get memberships, subscriptions, my funding company. Notice I skip all of that. I'm not trying to get the money from the people. I get the money from the corporations because in general, I understand how to make videos that get attention. This is one of my strongest skill sets, but it's something that I learned by practicing. I practice. I had to learn this, and I did a bunch of videos, a bunch of YouTube channels, trial and error. You guys see how many videos I put out. Every video that I put out is me learning something new. I'm learning how to implement new things into everything that I create. And I do this at a very rapid pace. Sometimes it does great, sometimes it does bad, but no matter what, I learned something from it. Now, the last and most important skill is sales and marketing. Now, this is something that I actually got by working 9-to-5 jobs. In the last 12 years, I've worked sales and commission-based environments as well as a few banks. But my bread and butter has always been sales, commission-based sales, marketing when it came to 9-to-5 jobs. I've worked for 6 Fortune 500 companies, and I can tell you this, without sales and marketing, you have nothing. Nothing at all. You can be an amazing person when it comes to AI. You can also be amazing when it comes to content creation. But if you can't sell your skills or know how to market them, you will remain stuck. Think about it. I talk about these companies. There's other people that have bigger YouTube channels than me or talk about the same thing, but they're not really thinking about this right now because they're not salesmen and they're not good at marketing. I know sales, I know marketing, and I was able to sell myself to these companies. And just think about that. If you had the greatest product or offer in the world, but you didn't know how to market it, then how would you make money? And this is why I keep saying having business funding is not gonna make you successful. These companies have all the money in the world, but they're gonna come call me so I can tell them how to actually make their content work. Isn't that kind of crazy? And guys, the best way to learn about this is by doing it. I have an entire YouTube video on this channel. This might be my least watched video about sales marketing. I gave so much good information on that video, and it actually pains me to see how poorly that video performed because I know that the things that people need, they don't necessarily actually watch that stuff. They watch the stuff that seems like it's easy and it's get rich quick. I understand everybody wants things to happen fast, but I'm gonna tell you, fast things don't last. You want to learn something, you can watch that video, and then there's plenty of other videos that you can watch about sales and marketing. But the best way for you guys to actually learn is to just do it. Get on sales calls, do cold calls. The best way to learn marketing is going to look for a successful marketing campaign, a video, an ad. Try to recreate that within your niche, okay? Or find someone who's already in your particular industry, your niche, whatever it is. They're operating in the same realm as you. Look at what they're doing. Try to implement that into your sales and marketing strategy. I've read so many books when it came to this. And again, I'm going to be honest. The best way for you to learn is through execution. There's no way for me to say it. There's no course. There's no YouTube video. There's nothing else. They can be like a guide to show you where to get started. But even when it came to things like stock trading, all that other stuff, no one can prepare you for how it feels when you do the thing. No one can really show you how it feels to get good at something or to learn step by step. You have to just do it. That's how you learn. And check this out, guys. If you learn all 3 of these skills, think about this. If you can use AI to automate the process, you create your own content so you don't have to pay anybody to make content for you, and you know how to sell it and market it and convert it into dollars, you know what that adds up to? You now have a successful business that you can leverage. Now, this is where you get business funding. So the first 2 stages will give you the ability to launch a successful business. You can't do a side hustle or sell your time forever if you want to actually grow your wealth. Once you've honed a valuable skill and you're ready to combine your skills with capital, and you can do this by leveraging business funding or by using your own money. Of course, you'll have your own money in the bank, so people can see that you have funds, and then you can use that to have them offer you credit, and then you can get their money at 0% APR or the lowest interest rate possible. Use their money in order to grow your capital, but you still have your money right there, again, because they will lend more money to someone that actually has a profitable cash flowing business. Now, if you've implemented all these steps, you'll be able to make money while you sleep. My choice is selling products or services that sell themselves because I know how valuable my time is. You don't have to physically be present to do this. For me, the business that took me from my job to YouTube that I was able to scale was e-commerce. E-commerce was the thing. That's how I made my first $100,000. But you don't need to do that. You don't have to go that route. There are many ways to use the previous skills that we talked about to make money. You can start a tangible physical product business. You can start whatever it is that you want, even clothing, whatever. Once you learn the skills that I'm talking about, it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to get money and make sales if you learn how to use AI prompt tools. If you learn how to create content, then whatever it is that you're making content about will sell. It will sell because you know sales and marketing. My store, successwithstevensmith.com, was built in February of 2024. I launched it in 24 hours. That store has made me over $100,000. And I was able to do this from the skills that we just talked about. And that website, honest to God, it's just a side project. It's not even like anything main. It's just something that I just did in order to provide resources. But you can start a service-based business around this expertise, and you can sell services to clients. You may have to hire people if you want it to be more hands-off for you. You can do whatever it is that you want. If you're skilled in AI, offer implementation packages to local businesses. If you've gotten good at content, help other brands build their social presence. Everyone needs someone. From that point, whatever you choose, you can use business funding to scale to 100,000, to your first million, and well beyond that. Now, I myself, I'm not a millionaire. However, I'm getting very, 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 very close. And what I can say is after you make that first 100,000, it seems like things just kind of take off from there. It just depends on how much time you put in to learning these skills. It's not that time has to be a factor. It's really how quickly you can learn how to implement this stuff into something that you would like to use for a business. Now, in the process that I'm currently in, I've been doubling down on all the stuff that we just spoke about, working 14 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, and most of it is spent on education and research. I'm not saying work yourself to death. You can spread this out as much time as you like. It's however you would like to pace yourself, but it will take a lot of work. It will take a lot of research, and the time frame isn't really the thing. It's just about how quickly you can acquire these skills, and then how quickly you can actually execute them in order to learn. And then once you do that, then sky's the limit from there. If you continuously just try to be better every single day, then I think ultimately that will get you to exactly where you want to be. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, I'm going to actually link that marketing video down in the description. I also have another video that I'm going to re-release about how to get to that first $10,000. And that video is more of how to really figure out exactly what you want to do. And then you can come back and watch this video. You'll start to see how the skills that I talked about can be implemented into that video, and hopefully help you find a viable business model that works for you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and you have a wonderful day.